Beyond Reach podcast gives the voice to brands, athletes, organizations in the outdoor space industry. Through open conversation, you're going to discover their stories, their successes and challenges, but also their vision. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome on the podcast, Cameron. I'm very happy to have you today, as you have lots to share for the viewers, for the athlete, but also for the brands. So let's start with like a quick game where you have to choose between two things, and so we can understand who you are, and then you're going to be able to present yourself. So my first question is, if you have to choose between tea or coffee?
Ooh, coffee.
Coffee. Do you take sugar?
No sugar.
No sugar, no milk?
Black. Probably tend to have espresso.
Strong. No espresso. Okay, so that leads me to the next question, which was Canada or Europe?
I'm sorry, Canadians that are listening, but I have to say I've lost my heart to Europe.
Because of the food?
Food, culture. Yeah, love Europe.
Are you small or are you tall?
I'm tall. I'm about 198 centimeters, so about 6'5.5".
I was gonna ask for that. I can't translate that, but I know like Canadians love that. All of America in general. And now, last one. Rank the following sports from number 1 to number 3: okay. Soccer, rugby, and volleyball.
Ooh, volleyball number 1, rugby number 2, and football or soccer.
Soccer.
Number 3.
Okay, cool. Well, I hope they're not going to be pissed about that for whatever. Okay, well, now you can present yourself so we understand why your answers were like that.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much. It's a great honor to be on the Beyond Reach podcast. I really love what you're doing and the brand that yourself and you stand for. So thank you so much for having me. For those that don't know me, my name is Cameron Branch, and I am a professional volleyball athlete, but I also own my own business, which is Branch Sports Performance. And really our mission is to educate and inspire athletes and provide foundational resources in the realm of nutrition, recovery, hydration, sleep, and online and in-person training programs. And so really, BSP is an extension of my experience, as an athlete, starting from as long as I could remember all the way to when I, got to the professional level in 2018. And so it's a sum total of my experiences and in part my education. That's a little bit about me and my brand.
Yeah, that's cool. So you already talked a little bit about your story, but if we deep dive, when did your career started? When did it started?
So I growing up, we'll start kind of there. I think we'll go back to the childhood. I come from a very athletic family. My mom played basketball, my dad played baseball, and so immediately I was attracted to play sports from a young age. And I got more serious when I entered high school, I would say. I was playing travel baseball, travel basketball, a little bit of volleyball. It wasn't until later on when I decided to really focus on volleyball, which I was 17, 18, grade 12, grade 13, when the volleyball coach had asked me at my high school to come try out. And so, from that moment, I fell in love with volleyball, and we went to OFSA. So that's basically the championship in high school for where I'm playing. And from there, I got recruited by Eric Young from Nipissing University and played 5 years at Nipissing and had an amazing time there, getting an education and also playing a part of a really amazing volleyball program, Lakers men's volleyball. And then from there, had an opportunity to represent Team Canada for the Summer Universiade Games in Taipei, Taiwan. And then, I think just having some international experience, it exposed me to some scouts and some agents. And then, after my 5th year, I signed with an agency and then went professional in 2018. And my first contract was in Austria. That's kind of, and ever since I've been playing pro for like the last 6 years. And so that's kind of my journey to where I'm at right now.
Okay. And so when you were like, so you said that you started basically to be a bit more serious when you were in high school. Um, what were the challenges that you faced at that time in between the school and all that? How was it?
I think the challenge for me was it wasn't until later on that I was more serious about education. And
Mhm.
so for me, my whole entire life was sports. And so I found it difficult to study in the classroom because I was just constantly thinking about my next baseball, track and field championship or volleyball practice. And so it wasn't until when I started getting recruited that I needed to really focus in on my studies. And so, yeah, that was a big challenge for me, just being able to balance both athletics and school and really prioritizing athletics over school until my grade 13 year when you have to reach a certain average in the classroom in order to get accepted into university. And so I went back for a fifth year and started to dial in my study habits and my routines and was getting some good marks that gave me the opportunity to finally commit to Nipissing University and pursue physical and health education.
Yeah, yeah, and then you deep dive into even more with like psychology and nutrition and all that stuff. So, and so when you said like you went back to your habits to then have better score, what was your typical schedule at that time?
Yeah, growing up, I was the schedule. We had a few practices a week for volleyball, and at that time, like I said, I was really just specializing in volleyball, and so yeah, I would weight train, 4 to 5 days a week, and then yeah, have 2 to 3 volleyball practices per week as well, and then yeah, I was in school all day. And so that's a challenge, especially for where I was at that age and for the majority of student athletes in high school, right? They have, crazy academic and then, extracurriculars, whether it's school sports or travel sports.
Mhm.
And so I had, even at that time having trouble balancing both doing well in school and well on the court.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. So what do you think helped you because you made it, like you have like a master and like all those stuff, you're like a professional athlete now for like several years. What do you think helped you the
Yeah,
most?
I think I've had some amazing mentors in my life that really guided me in the right direction. And, I think time management and organization. And so I'm really keen on having a daily planner. I've since transitioned to Google Calendar, where I just make sure that all the things that I need to get done are either accounted for in a to-do list or, the bigger projects are in Google Calendar so I can see what's upcoming. So I've just kind of set my priorities straight and just the time management of prioritizing what I got to get done, what I
Mhm.
have to do to maintain my health and my physical fitness to be able to perform on the volleyball court. With the stuff with BSP, just making sure that I'm scheduling calls and, I'm not overlapping calls and things of that nature. So yeah, time management and just being organized with, the direction that BSP is headed, the direction I'm headed with my professional volleyball career, just knowing and having attainable goals for both. So I have goals for BSP and I have goals for my professional volleyball career.
Yeah, okay. Well, those are precious tips, I would say. Google is definitely your friend because yeah, it really helps you to have your little task and yeah, like manage your like like we said off. It's like you're trying to find your balance between your personal life, your career, and all that jazz. So like Google is really precious for that. That's for sure. Um, okay, really interesting. Um. I would jump now maybe on your conversion to becoming a professional athlete. Like you said, your parents were like in the sport industry, like a little bit, doing basketball and what did you say?
My
Baseball?
father played baseball. Yes, you got it.
Baseball.
Yeah.
And so having an agent and dealing with agents for the first time, how did it go? What was your vision maybe before, and what did you learn?
Yeah, so with agencies, yeah, I think this is for maybe another athlete that is looking to play in Europe, and there's many agencies in the world that exist,
Yeah.
and I think it's important that you find an agent that really is in line with the goals that you have set up for yourself and kind of where you want to take your career. And so, yeah, it's normal to be able to reach out to multiple different agencies to see kind of what their ideas are for you and for you to present your ideas to them. And so I was looking around, and I think most agents do have your best interest, but some definitely are out there and they see you as a paycheck. So I think it's, when in my case, I think I can read the room pretty well. So, I had multiple conversations with various agents from various parts of the world, um, and then I decided on one agency to begin my pro volleyball career. And we built trust. We were talking on the phone often. We were having video calls. And he was a mentor for me, a big mentor, and just really helping me pave the way on making sure that also that volleyball is a short-lived window, right? So he had a business background as well and said, hey, put some thought into what maybe online coaching could look like.
Yeah.
You have experience, you have a degree, and so that's kind of what started the BSB conversation. So
Okay.
yeah,
And
still
so,
talking today.
yeah, no, that's a very good transition now with your business of like, uh, your business you founded in 2019, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So it's now 5 years old or turning 5 years old. So congratulations for that, first of
Thank
all. And so moving like with all your knowledge and your agent saying that, you say, okay, let's jump into that business mindset and make my like it's your security for after all,
you.
after
Yes.
your career basically,
Yeah.
which is great, which is something that every athlete should think about their personal brand while doing their career, which is not easy because you already have a really tight schedule to respect. But it's really important to think about it. So building PSP, what was your what was your knowledge even in business at that time?
Yeah, I had very little business knowledge. I never knew how to sell programs or even sell myself as a coach, right? I was just really using my experience as a volleyball athlete and a voice, right? So when I would attend camps, the children that are aspiring to play, they would look up to you and be like, wow, I want to jump or hit like him. But there's more to the story than that. And when we think about jumping higher, hitting harder, there's a foundational base of knowledge and things that we have to do on a daily basis as athletes, whether you're a young athlete or an older athlete. I think it comes down to, your habits and routines as it relates to, training, nutrition, recovery, and especially mindset. So, yeah, in a nutshell, how that all started to percolate was, I started writing in my first volleyball season. I just kind of wrote a little bit about me page
Okay.
and becoming pro and the day in the life of a pro athlete. And I had a good time writing that, and um, I got a lot of questions on Instagram. What's it like being a professional athlete? The ins and outs. What is your daily routine? And these were just kind of like one-off conversations. And then, I would come back home, and then in the summer times, just be able to run in-person coaching clinics where I would have larger groups of athletes and be able to inspire and educate proper movement, proper nutrition, hydration, things of that nature. So,
So
yeah.
and so how did you jump into the online then? Because so you're like experimenting, sharing your story in Instagram and social media in general, having this engagement, coming back in Canada, doing your trainings in person, so you have that feedback and you know what works, what doesn't work with people. Because yeah, it's different to be a professional athlete and to train people. Like you have to have this leadership and you have to have the vocabulary and all that stuff. So but how did you not come up with the idea of online, but how did you transform that to online and what did it help you to do so?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. And so in my second year of professional volleyball, I was in France.
Yeah.
And that's when COVID had kind of struck the world, and I was sent home. The league was finished early because it was too risky,
Mhm.
obviously, for the entire population to go and do their normal activities because of COVID. So I came back home, and then I decided that I would continue to work on my master's degree. And my project was in the subject of behavioral medicine. And so my project was a nutrition education program for varsity athletes, because I had a huge nutrition journey and transition when I went to university. So really, the online came from me presenting that curriculum to actual sports teams. And my first sports team that I worked with to deliver this 5 phase nutrition education curriculum was Lakers men's volleyball. So my former coach gave me the opportunity to work with his guys that season, and it was such a privilege and honor, because I could see the academics coming into a practical setting. And it was really well received by the team. And then I went on to work with the Nipissing Lakers women's hockey team. And then I did some consulting within the OVA and working with some clubs in the sport of volleyball that were a little bit younger, about 15U, 14U, 17U. Um, and then, yeah, I realized that, wow, COVID presented a really good opportunity for online coaching. And that's kind of when I got into the online training space and providing both training and nutrition programs for individual athletes and sports teams.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's a little,
Very, very
that's
in
the birth of the virtual education was simply because of COVID-19.
yeah. It's very that this is a very, very interesting story. And yeah, like lots of like lessons that you learn and then you have to jump like this. It's also very promising when you're talking like this is never gonna stop for you. Like you're in a really good spot right now.
Mhm.
Even for after, like if you are like you can work in like professional teams, no problem with all your knowledge and all your background that you're building right now. So we talking about this online coaching a little bit. Who are you? Not who, but what kind of athlete right now are you helping on like because it's like an individual coaching, it's like on one-on-one. So maybe like what kind of athlete like in terms of like level and maybe in terms of like practice, are they in volleyball? Are they not?
Yeah. Yeah, we work with so myself, I work with um, football athletes, basketball athletes, hockey athletes, really any kind of anyone under the umbrella athletes from youth to professional and even to older adults. And so we really bring in a large uh, variety in our populations of who we work with. But predominantly volleyball athletes, so anywhere between 15U, 16U, 17U, all the way to professional level volleyball athletes. And right now, some provincial sport teams are in season, so we're doing online sports training for those provincial sports teams. And then for the most of the professional athletes that I'm working with, it's their off season. And I'm
Yeah.
working to help them get a little bit leaner, a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, a little bit
Yeah.
stronger, right? To help
Yeah.
prepare their bodies for their upcoming pro season.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a wide variety of who we work with. And yeah, it's quite exciting that, everyone, they all play a sport, but the foundations of strength and recovery and nutrition are for the majority the same.
Yeah. And so you are an athlete and you started so you know how the finance kind of like build up for you and
Mhm.
so working with athlete you can know exactly kind of like where they are so for your on the business side I don't want to know like how much you charge but how does it work because you're saying like it's a variety so for someone that's professional they can probably afford your services and see
Yeah.
the value in it but for someone that's like 15 years old how do you balance that? How do you?
That's a great question. And like I said, I don't have a strong business background. So it's really been a process and a journey to like learn the price points and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm moving away from having a standardized price. I think that there are so many different financial backgrounds. And
Mm,
sometimes you have athletes that reach out that are paying for themselves and they're not even the adult age yet. So you can really appreciate that they're like young, they're excited, and they're thinking about training and nutrition and recovery. So I'm just like always inspired. So I
yeah.
like to ask the question, what is your budget for coaching? What are you expecting from me as your coach? And then we kind of work within their budget. Um, one of the big I guess gaps of what I'm seeing in online coaching is there is a lot of people that would like online coaching, but for one-on-one personal coaching, it can get quite expensive. And
Mhm.
so, what I've been trying to do, and I've been working with my colleague Tyler Vivian on this, is providing a subscription-based program that is more cost-effective, where
Yeah,
an athlete can purchase that at a fraction of the price of what an online one-on-one coaching situation may look like.
yeah,
Because yeah, there's been definitely some conversations where my low-level price that an athlete cannot afford, and
yeah,
that breaks my heart. And so we thought that it would be a good idea to put on a program that is guided by us, and it's our training philosophy, and that is a little bit more cost effective and can reach that population that maybe not be able to afford the one-on-one personalized coaching. And so it's a volleyball program. It's a 20-week off-season training program. It comes with some guidebooks. So we have a nutrition guidebook, a hydration guidebook. We have a mindset jump training. So it's everything that we would teach you essentially, but we're taking ourselves out of the equation. And it's more, this is on you. You purchase the program, it's on you. But if you have questions, you can send us a message, you can send us video, and we can provide feedback on some of your exercises, because we really want to ensure that athletes are, doing quality over quantity training.
yeah. And when that's great. That's a great evolution, and I like just to go on like on the guide. Are they like PDF guides, or do you have kind of like a page where you have videos with different subjects where you talk about stuff? So it's like something that you don't necessarily need to manage. You just give access, and then you have some calls on the side. What's the
Mhm.
system a little bit?
Yeah, and so for this Volley Elite off-season program that I'm talking about, that is the more subscription-based
Okay.
version. Yeah, we have some guides within the coaching notes, so that if they click the PDF, it comes up and it's written nutrition guide, sleep guide, hydration guide, and there's about 2 to 3 pages of information on where you can begin to develop those habits as an athlete. Because we know that when athletes are eating well, sleeping well, hydrating, it's gonna really help their performance for that program that we've written. And so that's more of like a self guide that they follow, and they go through the phases of the workout and the program, etc. And then we just have a group chat function where for whoever purchases the Volley Elite program,
Yeah.
there's a chat function, and they're able to comment on their workout. They're able to provide an exercise video of them performing the exercise. And so we are able to provide feedback for them. And so that's more of the Volley Elite program that is for maybe an athlete that is not wanting one-on-one coaching, but something that they can follow for themselves. It's a little bit more affordable for them. And then in terms of that, yeah, the more personalized coaching. And so yeah, essentially we bring an athlete on for a game plan session, and we review their training goals, their injury history, any major competitions coming up. Are they in season? Are they off season? What competitive level are they at? Are they male or female? And then we take in obviously age into consideration. And then kind of from there, we just like, what are your goals? Where do you want to end up? And then we kind of take that information and then build their unique program. And then it becomes a weekly conversation. So we have weekly check-ins. We have monthly Zoom calls, and it's a little bit more, that one-on-one that they're looking for to support their performance and engagement within the program.
Perfect. Well, that's pretty solid. Like I would jump on it for sure. Like you look really passionate about it. That's cool. Uh,
Yeah,
and so you keep saying we. So you started solo now. Small doesn't mean efficient, not efficient. That's the first thing. To like so you're like two, three, and then you work with like maybe some other freelancers maybe to complete the workforce.
Yeah. So I think yeah. So I am the founder of BSP, and I say we as me and BSP, but we
Yeah.
definitely work with. I don't have an employee per se, but we work with other professionals in their respective domains. So we
Yeah.
work with the strength coaches, we work with sports psychologists, we work with dietitians. We're kind of like that support network. And
Yeah.
so if an athlete needs a little bit more nutrition guidance from a dietitian, then we would refer out to them. If
Okay.
I'm building a really solid program and I want someone to review it, I have colleagues to do that, because again,
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know, and you can always learn. And
Exactly.
being part of volleyball. It's a team sport, and I'm all for learning from other people. And so, yeah, so I say we as yes, I have people,
Yeah.
that support BSP in the background and are very respective in their fields, and that's how we try to create the best programs on the market.
That's great. I'm just asking the question because I love when it's like, as a client, I love when it's like transparent. And I know that we say we is the same, like Beyond Rich Production, we say we, but we are two, three, and then we have different people that are working with us in
Mhm.
need, like depending on the projects. And so kind of the same, but okay, great. That's
Yeah.
great. So you are talking about your athletes that you're working with their goals and their struggles and all that stuff, like trying to go over that. For PSP, of course, the goal is to have more and more athletes, I suppose. And but what's your vision for PSP? Like you are saying that you are kind of like solo working with other people together. What's your vision for the next 3, 5 years? Or even three, that's enough, I would
Yeah.
say.
Honestly, I think I take it kind of year by year, and I
Okay.
just try to do a really good job in my space. And so, providing the best training program I can at that moment. It's a space where we're always learning. Sports science is a broad topic, but there's always things that are evolving. The same goes for the nutrition, the mindset, the recovery that we really focus on. It's a very holistic program in nature. And so my goal over the next, 5 years is to really just try to impact, educate, and inspire, athletes in general. And, I like to also focus more on it's not just the athlete, but it's the human and human development. So we really just want to make sure that, yes, you're learning fundamental sports skills and how to be a successful athlete on and off the court, but more of the focus on off the court because yes, we know that athletes go through transitions, but the skills and the mental tools that they learn within these programs, discipline, work ethic, these are all relatable to life after sport. So we're really big on just creating foundational habits and routines through training, nutrition, recovery to set them up for a lifelong enjoyment of physical activity and health.
Okay. Okay,
Mhm.
that's really cool. And so that it's very interesting because you seem to be like peaceful about it, not stressed about it. It's gonna grow when it's gonna grow slowly. So if you're that peaceful, like where are you at with your professional career? Because if you were at the end, you would be probably grow, 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 because I also need to make a living out of it later. So where are you at with your professional athlete? And maybe also if you can kind of like estimate like how much revenue in percentage, no money, just in percentage. Is it like 30% from career and 70% from a business? Where are you at?
Yeah. So again, I've been postponing my retirement for several years. Every at the end of every season, I'm done. And then, 1 week goes by after the season because it's mentally and physically exhausting. And then I'm like, I miss it again. I got to go back. Um, so in terms of revenue, it's about the same. And so this year, BSP, we will definitely go a little bit above what I would make from professional volleyball. And so that's super exciting. And that's really good feedback for me saying that, hey, we're moving this thing in a positive direction. But mind you, I don't base the success of BSP from a financial perspective, but we really we take seriously the feedback that we get, the recommendations, as much as online training and coaching uh, is really big in the online space, we think that word of mouth is very important. So we just try to do the best job we can with the individual athletes that we support,
Yeah.
camps that we're invited to, because yes, I think the power of word of mouth is stronger than any type of online marketing. So we're really still old school in that category. Um, yeah, does that answer your
No,
question?
no, it does. It does. It does answer the question totally, and
Yeah.
it's making also the transition to the way you communicate because you're saying word of mouth, word of mouth. I'm like old school on that, and that's fair. Like it's a fair comment because after all, like a connection brings you to another connection that brings you to another connection that is going to, like is building your network, and then your network is your net worth. So in the end, like, yes, like, uh, for sure. But I went on your website, for example, and it's old school. There is no video, for example, when like some other could go like video and like trying to push it a little bit. So do you see like the way you're promoting right now? Is there something that you think you will have to like evolve uh in the future? Like, do you see that as a possible problem or not? And yeah, and maybe like if you're sorry for that, but if yeah, you're watching the other ones,
Yeah.
how do you see them promote themselves, and how do you see even the space promoting itself and
Yeah.
changing, evolving?
I think this is like a multi question right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. I know. I can come back to another.
Yeah.
To
No,
another.
it's okay. I think like if we peel back some layers,
Mhm.
coaching and online coaching is a very flooded space. So it's like, how do you stand out?
Yeah,
And yeah, when you look at other professionals, they have some really good programs that are using video to promote their brands. And sometimes I
yeah,
sit there, wow, I am not doing that. But I always refer back and have to always tell myself, be mindful of where BSP is going, and
mm,
knowing that it's one step at a time, and knowing that I will get to that level eventually.
yeah,
Do a good job of what I'm doing right now, what I'm promoting. The
yeah,
goal perhaps is more video programs, having online courses that have
yeah,
me presenting on a topic. So it's all in good time, progress over perfection, but
yeah,
definitely direction is more in the realm of video. But when you get into video, once you do a really professional video one time, then all the rest of your videos, I think, have to be well lighted. And so
yes,
you really have to have I think the space and also the nice camera, the lighting. And
yeah,
so I see that I need to maybe take a step
yeah,
and invest in that for BSP. But like I said, I think right now we're doing a really good job with what we're
yeah,
doing, online training, and we're
mhm,
able to have a good program. But if we
yeah,
want to go even farther than the aspect, I think
yeah,
video can enhance your connection with others.
yeah,
Great if you have like a welcome video on your website where you're the person explaining who you are. Thank you so
yeah,
much for coming. Could be a little bit more impactful than
yeah,
maybe written bio.
yeah.
So TikTok, Instagram, those are all great platforms that you can definitely have your face on your brand, and perhaps be able to connect with other athletes that
Yeah,
maybe.
it's 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 also there's video and video. There's video for your website and maybe your coaching lessons, and like there's video for that side. There's content, and it's not about necessarily like video, but there's content for your programs, and there's content to entertain or to promote what you
Mhm,
do. And so
mhm.
and it's very smart from yourself and the people working with you to go slow and to take one decision after another, because if you go like everywhere, then you're overwhelmed and you go nowhere. And in the end, and then you look back and you're like, oh, okay, well, we have to delete this, and that. But yeah, like there's like two different things. Like, do I want to promote myself and entertain? Like, is this something I want to grow first, or do I want to grow my program first and make some video to bring more quality, or to even simplify my processes, so I don't have to be the one always being present. I can send people over to some videos, and that's going to help me to do something else, or focus on something else, or rest a little bit more and take care of myself a little bit more. And then later, when this is built, then I can promote myself and go on social media a little bit more and all that stuff. So those are like two different strategies. Some people would go social media and let the program as it is, which is
Mhm.
fine. And then others would focus on that first and make it really, really good, and then promote it when it's ready.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think, when I first started, it was very overwhelming. We have Instagram, we have TikTok, we have LinkedIn, we have Facebook. And
Mm,
when you try to, promote yourself on all of those platforms, it's very overwhelming. And so,
yeah,
I think some of the best information that my mentor gave me at the time was focus and do a really good job on one platform. And then once you're efficient with that platform, you can maybe then go to the next. And so
Exactly.
what I focused on is building my Instagram. So
Yeah.
I focused on Instagram. I did a really good job with Instagram, I think, based on the feedback. And then I got into LinkedIn for more of the coaches or organizations that may be on there.
Okay.
So Instagram is more for my community, volleyball
Mhm.
players, athletes. It's more about my experiences and my training programs and kind of showing my lifestyle
Yeah.
as I play volleyball. And I think that resonates really well with the athletes that follow me. And then for maybe I'm looking for a team to work with or an organization to partner with. That's where I post on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just really focusing on Instagram,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, not so much on TikTok yet. A lot of people have said you got to get on TikTok and get a ton of views. But I think it's really nice to still be a brand that doesn't have so many followers and just really having the impact on those that follow me because you have more of a personal connection. I think when you have too many followers, it can get really overwhelming to manage. And so I think, with our 3,500 followers,
Yeah.
we know them, we've had conversations with them,
Yeah.
so we
Exactly.
to do a good job at making sure that whether it's a question, a piece of content, that it
Yeah.
speaks to maybe where they're at in their
Yeah.
journeys.
Which is again very smart because most people right now are all about views and the number of subscribers, followers, and all that. When it's not necessarily because you have 100K followers that you're making money. But maybe you have 35K followers and you're making like a ton because those are the right type of clients, right type of people that are following you and engaging with you. So that's again very, very smart from you. Okay. I had something in mind, but I forgot what I was going to say. That's for
You're
sure.
human. It's okay, man.
Oh
You're
yeah,
human.
yeah. That's why I like keeping like to like a human level, not necessarily having like a script, but more like trying to engage with you and trying to think about what could be the next question. But yeah, I think it's very interesting this like strategy and where you're going. Like it's very smart from you. Um, I think that we touched base like basically all the different points. Do you have maybe something that you like to add? I know, I remember my question.
Got
Okay,
it.
coming back. Sorry. You were talking about LinkedIn and you're maybe one of the first talking. No, I had Mike Goldis. I talked about it a little bit. Uh, but you are saying that you are on Instagram engaging with people more like on a one-on-one relationship with people, and then
Mhm.
you go on LinkedIn to find the professionals.
Mhm.
How do you see LinkedIn impacting your business? In because like mo most people, I got Dave from Infinity Sub, like he's like a stand-up paddleboard CEO of Infinity, which is like
Mhm.
a decent brand, like decent sized brand. And he was saying he's same thing. He's on this one-on-one connection, not necessarily promoting crazy, like they are doing their journey, and that's pretty much it. But he's saying that I'm not on LinkedIn, and maybe I'm missing the boat. So what
Mhm.
would you say to Dave that is maybe missing the boat?
Yeah, no, I think LinkedIn is a nice way to present your professional resume. So it's a sum total of your experiences. It's a good way to maybe grow your network because there are a few coaches that speak and post articles on there. Oftentimes you can attend webinars that you might not see on Instagram. And
Yeah,
so I think it's just one of those outlets. I've kind of moved away from Facebook. I think Facebook for me is more about my childhood friends and my family, and
yeah,
it's nice to connect with them. No, no, I guess no disrespect to Facebook. It's just, it was one of
yeah,
my first social media platforms when I was a young kid. And that's just, that's where all my friends were, my family. And so I kind of compartmentalize family and personal life with Facebook, really professional, like my resume, my experiences, who I've worked with, some testimonials on there, my education, a little bit of it about me on, you can put that on your page. And then if we're working with, camps or teams, we present that on LinkedIn. Um, Again, it's just one area where you can present yourself. It's more of a working resume
yeah,
where people who don't know you can
yeah,
maybe look to you to get a brief understanding of who you are, what you're doing in the community, and the field that you're working in. And then, like as I said, Instagram is more, based for the videos, content creation. And that's, again, you could do the same on Instagram. I've seen
Yeah.
people do it. And it's just back to, what the mentor said to me, which was focus, on one thing, do a good job, and then you can move to another. So again, exploring as I go along,
Yeah.
process will come. And there's really no wrong way, I think, to go about it. It's just more about, doing your self-service, focusing on one area, doing a good job with that, and then looking once you're doing well, maybe moving to another platform.
Do you have maybe one experience one positive experience with LinkedIn, that like a coach, like a new connection that helps you to step up with your business, or a new client, or
Absolutely. I love when when you get like a connection and then they write to you, hey, like I'm really curious about your business and I'd love to have a podcast. And that person just so happens to be you or the colleague that helps promote. So yeah, if I wasn't on LinkedIn, then you and I wouldn't have met and had this wonderful conversation.
oh, for
So
sure.
that's one example. I think the second example is Diane, who is the founder of Guts Nutrition, and she's really heavy on the LinkedIn, marketing, if you will. She does a great job with her messaging, and just like me on Instagram, she focuses on LinkedIn and has like a newspaper article, a weekly newspaper article where she posts, and she's been really successful with that. So again, I think it's that humanality of coaching where LinkedIn provides the opportunity for you to network, build connections, see what other people are doing within your space. And then
Yeah.
if you're curious, I think coaches are always giving out a helping hand. And
Yeah.
so in my experience, when I'm looking to get inspired by another coach, I just send them a message on LinkedIn, and
Yeah.
they're usually happy to meet because they just want to, be nice and maybe cut down some barriers that maybe they went through earlier on in their career. So those are just some examples.
I think we could talk forever. But there's maybe one last, and then we say bye. But what how do you see AI? Are you using AI at all? Do you see that as a tool?
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that because I really wasn't aware until people started posting about it on Instagram and LinkedIn, and now Meta has it. It's on my WhatsApp. Like you can write text with AI and everything. I don't necessarily use it as a professional. Maybe if I need to get inspired for an Instagram post, I will put it into AI and see kind of what it spews. But there's so much customization, so it will output something to you, and then majority of the time you have to use your own words.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so at the moment, I don't use AI for any of my projects, messages, but sometimes for Instagram when I need to get inspired for a caption,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
use AI.
Well, we're on the same team, especially
Yeah,
because I'm French. So I have an idea, or if I need an idea, I type like all the script and everything I have in mind, and then I have like another like more maybe it's also helping you to organize sometime your ideas, right? You have like something you're like, I'd like to write something about that subject, about this that includes this, blah 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 blah, and then it's like giving you kind of like a structure that you could think about, but it could take you maybe 15-20 minutes to think about it.
yeah.
Oh,
To be honest with you, I think I haven't really been. I don't know how to use it well,
okay.
right? So like I will type in like I'll explain my Instagram post like what it is.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just not doing it well and being
It could be,
efficient.
it could be as simple as like um, it could be as simple as, well, we're diving into AI, but sometimes this is what I do is just I have a post for Instagram, and I'm writing my caption. I don't know if it's good or if it's bad. First, because I'm French, I can make some mistakes. Maybe it's not really like English
Yeah.
sometimes. So it's first to correct myself. It's pretty good. But it's also that you can ask the AI, which is like, for example, ChatGPT,
Mhm.
is your assistant. So you could be like, can you make the following post more engaging? And then you copy paste it, and then it's going to give you a result. And you say, can you give me 4 or 5 options? And then you have different options, and then you can see kind of like the wording that he's using, which you tend not to use because it's always the same, and people knows what's AI and what's not nowadays.
Yeah.
But it can give you kind of like hints of like how to make it more engaging without struggling of like thinking about it too much. And so yeah.
Well, definitely. So you call it chat GPT?
Yeah, ChatGPT. Oh, you don't know ChatGPT?
I just typed in AI and
Okay.
within that one.
Yeah,
I have
so it's chatgpt.com,
yep.
and it's open AI, like it's a big business called OpenAI that have multiple different AIs from ChatGPT to another one I don't remember the name that creates video, like AI video generated completely.
Video.
Yeah,
Wow.
like drone video and everything. It's not perfect yet, but it's really, really close. And so, for example, for stock footage, I don't know if you like the stock footage or like footage that you take from another website for your website, for example, like a drone footage.
Okay.
Normally, a freelancer would take his drone to this place, let's say Ireland, and he goes there and he flies the drone and he gets his stuff and put that on that platform, and you can download and use it. Nowadays, with AI coming in, we almost don't need, like, it depends on your product, of course, and but for you maybe you're going to use in the next 10 years AI generated content that is not made by a human at all. And this is where we come in place also. This is like people in our industry are like, oh, what are we going to do? Well, the thing is that the AI is here maybe to put a band-aid on what you're doing. But if when it comes to a documentary or brand story or all those stuff, you have to create it for the most part,
Mhm.
right? But at the same time, it's also useful because if you wanna create a video, it's a little bit off the podcast. But if you want to create a video from the past, from like let's say the 1900s that you don't have, you can possibly generate something that looks like what it was, how it was, and then just put it as an example, let's say, if the quality is good enough. So again, it's a tool, and just like the cashier disappearing, you have to play with it. You have to play with automation and all that stuff. But yeah.
Well, I've heard coaches speak about it. Yourself, this isn't the first time I've heard it, and it definitely is a tool. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely something to think about and consider. But I also think like just the experiences that I write about, I don't know if AI would be able to write. And that's how I think we have to just go along with the times.
Yeah,
AI is here, it's here to stay, and it's just about
yeah,
how we can make it most efficient, for us as online
mhm,
coaches,
yeah,
in-person coaches. But I think that touch, the art of coaching, right?
yeah.
There's a science of coaching that maybe AI can
Yeah.
support, but the art of coaching will never be
Or
lost.
you just have to see it as if you want to create a program for CSP, PSP, sorry for that. If you want to create a program for PSP, like a brand new program, you have an idea, like I'd like to make something a little bit different or tweak it or whatever. You have to see the AI as your assistant that's going to draft something,
Mhm.
and then you're going to come on top and be like, thank you, AI, I take it from there. Boom. Or you say to AI, can you give me three other options? And then you take your three other options, thank you. And then you make your recipe and boom, you have a brand new program. Or it can help you to also bring a conversation along with a new client. You don't know anything about that sport. Can you tell me everything about like what are the different struggles that a skeleton player like is, what are the challenge or whatever, and can give you kind of like ideas and hints of like where it's at if he has the access on Google. So it can give you also, like, it can boost you. Basically, it's a booster to
Mhm.
move forward.
Mhm. Yeah, cool. Yeah, awesome, man.
Well, that's pretty much it. If you have to say something maybe to close that wonderful episode, what would you say?
Yeah, no, honestly, I just want to say thank you for having me on. And I think, like you said, we could probably talk for a few more hours and go down various rabbit holes. But I think for the most part, we were able to stay on track and you helped reframe maybe some of where my, thank you
You,
for that.
you, you have to.
Yeah. And other than that, for those that are tuning in, I hope that you had some value come from my experiences as a volleyball athlete and also as a founder of BSP. And if there's questions that arise or you want to connect, I'm always open to help other coaches learn, share my experiences, learn from you, learn who you are and what you're doing. Um, so my social media essentially is Cameron Branch _. You can find me on LinkedIn, Cameron Branch, and my website is branchsportsperformance.com. So
Perfect. That was probably my last question about where we can find you. And for the people watching on YouTube, we have all the different tags that are here, and you have normally in the description, I'm going to put like a link directly to the website so they can click on and have access to if they'd like to. Okay.
awesome.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much again. And I hope to see you very soon with a beer because you have lots of rabbit holes, like you said, to explore.
Sounds amazing.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Cameron.
Take care.